Presented by The Hockey Shop, source for sports story, thehockeyshop.com. Put that in your browser right now. Forget about the www. It's already there. Thehockeyshop.com. And it is your source for everything in our wonderful world of goaltending. Darren Millard, along with the co-founders of InGoal magazine, David Hutchison and Kevin Woodley. And we start by just welcoming back Hutch, who was on secret assignment last week. Now, don't reveal, don't play down what you're doing, because we know. So I know that you're going to try and play it down, but we're just happy to have you back.
Well, it's great to be back. I miss you guys.
Double secret probation.
Mm-hmm. You've used
nice
up
to be hanging out.
You've used up one of your absences that you're.
I think I've used a lot of absences, more than all of you guys. I think you've only had one in all the years.
No, I had 4 or 5 when I fell off the bicycle.
Oh yeah.
I had a nice little run there. See, that's why you save them up in case something bad happens. Then you can use them all at one time. If you fall off your bicycle, you're in big trouble because you used up all yours. Hey, it's opening week. Woody,
so exciting.
You like covering all these training camps. I've been in the rooms. It's been awesome to be able to launch into the National Hockey League campaign.
And I like not to be that guy because I'm happy it started. But wasn't it a little weird that the regular season started while other teams were still playing preseason games? Like, didn't take a little bit off of that opening series, which counted, folks. That was actual regular season hockey between the Sharks and the Predators on the weekend. I mean, believe me, I was excited to see Rhymes. I was excited to see Saros. And hey, Kevin Lankinen looked
Did he ever?
Really good in his first start. And, I think we were just talking last week. Remember, I said Connor Ingram. I was a little surprised that they signed Lankinen because I thought Ingram was ready for the NHL and he might be a guy that teams target off waivers when the Predators get back and have to send him down to the American Hockey League. But we forget, like Lankinen, World Championships with Finland, kind of buried behind a bad Chicago team for the last couple of years. And I think we kind of forget just how talented this guy may be and that, UC Saros didn't make it to the end. He was a Vezina finalist, but he didn't make it to the end of the season healthy. They felt they had to ride him so hard last year. At least early on, it looks like they may have a guy in Lankin and smart pickup that'll allow them to maybe back off the workload of Saros and make sure that their MVP makes it healthy to the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was strange having games going on while you're still preparing for preseason encounters the way we were. And following preseason, like seeing 7 preseason games on the schedule and then regular season.
It reminded me of the pandemic year when everybody else started the playoffs and I still had to cover the Calgary, Vancouver regular season games that were left over in front of no fans. It was kind of like that.
If you got through that, you can handle this. So, and great exposure. Prague was awesome. The journeys, Bern, Berlin, that was amazing. So good on Nashville and San Jose, and we've got one more trip in the Global Series to come this year. So looking forward to that. Getting into full swing this week. We'll be watching the Jack Camels and the Matt Murrays and what's going on in Vegas. We'll have updates with that. But our feature interview this week is going to focus on Jeremy Swayman of the Boston Bruins, the Sense Arena VR feature interview. He's a wonderful, wonderful, engaging person. I can't wait for people to hear all about your conversation, Woody.
Yeah, no, and what the funny part is, it's been a couple years. Like, that's the thing. The last time we talked, and I've seen Jeremy and we've texted back and forth and things like that, but in terms of being on the podcast and officially having a nice, longer conversation, it's been 2 years. And when we talked to him 2 years ago, he was still in college. He just made the decision to come out and turn pro and was heading to Boston. We talked to him and Alfie Michaud at the same time, and it's like, in 2 years, his path in those 2 years is pretty remarkable. Like, to go from the decision to turn pro to being an established NHL guy in that short a period of time. And we shouldn't be surprised, I guess, but we just don't see it that often. And so it's impressive. And so we got into that with Jeremy. We talked about all the lessons he's learned along the way, working with Linus Ullmark, Tuukka Rask, the lessons from Tuukka, and of course, Goalie Bob. Sideshow Bob, as we knew him here with the Vancouver Canucks, the goalie coach, longtime goalie coach of the Boston Bruins, Bob Essenza. So many great takeaways and so many great lessons in this half-hour chat we've got coming up with Jeremy Swayman. It was really fun to catch up.
I'm not saying he's there yet, but I will call that he's in the top 5. He's trending towards being the biggest personality in goaltending in the National Hockey League. Jeremy Swayman. And I don't think I'm overstating that. He's got some swagger about him, some confidence, and he's just so outgoing. Hutch, you would just light up being in a room with Jeremy Swayman. And the first thing, because I got to do this at the media tour, I got to do the Allmark Swayman hug. I asked him to do it, teach me, and it was amazing. And this guy, he can talk about anything: clothes, gear, technique, being in the National Hockey League, playing with veterans. The hug. He's Hutch. You would love spending 25 minutes in a room with him.
We're gonna have to organize that then, I guess. Road trip to Boston, boys. Here we go.
Boy, you got a lot of trips.
I need my Swayman hug.
And you know what? You know what the best part of that is? And we actually touch on that in the interview. It's just natural. There's nothing.
It's real.
There is nothing. Yeah. There is not a single, not even the tiniest ounce, the tiniest degree of that being put on by him and Linus. It is just completely natural, genuine. This is who he is, and that's what makes it so special, and part of what makes him so special, not just as a goalie, but as a person. So awesome to catch up with Sway again on the InGoal Radio podcast. Can't wait for everyone to hear that.
Hold on. I didn't call him Sway. Because I talked to him for the Chirp podcast at the media tour. That interview is going to come out in a while. But having talked to him, normally, like, okay, I've talked to him. You've talked to him. These are going to be too close together. I'd be worried about that. I can't be more excited to hear Swayman do our podcast right now, even though mine's going to come out later, because he's just so engaging. He's so awesome. But did you get permission to call him Sway? Because I didn't know that was a thing. You know what?
That's too many conversations with Alfie over the years, and just talking with Alf, and Alfie talks, like, that's just what he calls him. So I'm supposed to be a media guy. I should probably call him Jeremy or Swayman. But like when you talk to enough people that I'll just call him Sway, I guess that just popped out of my mouth. And that's how natural you feel with him. You just feel, he makes you feel so relaxed that you feel like you're buddies. And that's, again, that's just who he is. That's just part of that sort of easygoing. Like he hasn't gone Hollywood, for lack of a better term. Like he's been in the National Hockey League for 2 years, still went back and spent time with Alfie this summer, got on the ice at the University of Maine, did some work on the ice with Alfie, but just hung out with Alfie and his girls and his family. Like he's just naturally, this is who he is. He's just a really good person. And so it's awesome to anytime we get to share that.
I told him before sitting down with him, and I probably talked for 10 minutes, and he was like, can we go? I told him, I felt like I already knew him from the Woody conversation on InGoal. And now that he's back, because he's an open book. It's so fun. So looking forward to everybody hearing Sway and Woody and doing their thing and getting into it, and so much. And he's got one of the great routines. He's such an amazing skater that I think that everybody, if you can practice a little bit with your skating because you're inspired and motivated because of what Swayman does, then it's going to be a major benefit to your game. We've got a bonus interview this week, and really excited about this. We're into the month of October, and this revolves around October Saves. Hutch, can you just give us the 411 on October Saves?
October Saves is a fantastic organization which encourages goaltenders to sign up and solicit support. Donations for every save they make in the month of October will go towards cancer research and eliminating the horrible disease that affects literally every family. And we got the opportunity to partner with them and would love to support the organization. And as a result, we've donated a few items, because every week they do little draws to support the people that are engaged in the October Saves campaign, who the goaltenders who are out there raising money for them. They have a number of draws there. There's also a number of opportunities to get some October Saves swag. If you're fundraising at certain levels, there's a chance to get a Mitch Korn camp if you're one of the top fundraisers. One of the top organizations where they bring all their goaltenders together will be able to get Sense Arena for their organization as well, which is another fantastic opportunity. And from an InGoal perspective, we're sponsoring their Tuesday giveaways. So there's a Connor Hellebuck signed stick sitting on the wall behind Woody right now. There's a Carey Price signed jersey, and then some of that limited edition InGoal swag for another one of the Tuesdays. In addition, folks, if you're sitting on the fence about getting an InGoal membership, this is the month to do it, because 50% of every new membership will go to October Saves so that we can support them. So we think they're doing fantastic work. I think it's about $2.2 million they've raised over the years. And we're hoping we can help push it a little bit higher this year, because we just think they're doing amazing work, and great to see goaltenders around the world bonding together with a common cause.
And this is something that started grassroots at the smallest of smallest ideas, and has grown into the mainstream and an international success story. Really excited to listen to this conversation with Laura Hopewell. October Saves on InGoal Radio, the podcast presented by The Hockey Shop. Source for Sports Surrey, thehockeyshop.com.
Really excited to welcome to the InGoal Radio podcast for the first time. Far too late, and that's our fault here at InGoal. Laura Hopewell from October Saves Foundation. We've finally gotten on board, Laura. My apologies that it's taken us so long. You've been at this now for how many years? Is this 5 or 6 years?
This is actually year 9.
Oh, see, so that's how bad I am.
It's never too late. It is never too late. We love it when anybody joins us, when anybody discovers us. It is never too late. And, we're just here for all the new folks and all the folks who've been doing it for years and years and years.
Okay. So for those who, like us, are a little late getting on board, tell the rest of the goalie union how October Save started. And maybe first of all, actually, let's tell them what it's all about.
Okay. So it's a very simple concept. Basically, during the month of October, we ask goalies of all ages, from mites to beer league and everywhere in between. We ask them to sign up at octobersaves.org. And then we just tell them to go ask family and friends and teammates and whoever to make pledges or flat donations for every save they make during the month of October. And for every save, we mean practices, games. I mean, you could even do video gaming saves. All saves count. And we take all of that money and we give it to some really super amazing beneficiaries who are fighting cancer.
How'd you get started?
So we actually started 9 years ago. Actually further back than that, when I was in my 30s, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so when I was, just out of the blue, as it always is for everyone, both of my boys were young and they were just starting their love of hockey at our local rink in Ashburn, Virginia. So, it was a fairly aggressive battle with cancer and it lasted for a while. But during that time, the ice rink was my boys' happy place. Like, it was the thing that kept them happy. It was the thing that diverted them from all of sort of the chaos that was going on in our cancer world. And so after I got better and I finished my treatment, we decided, like, let's go and do a fundraiser just at our rink with our club. And let's see if we can raise some money and kind of give back to this community that was so supportive of us during this time. And it was the Ashburn Extreme. That was our club. And so we came up with this idea with our goalie coach to do this thing called October Saves. And again, I just told you the super simple concept. We thought, let's see how many goalies will sign up. And like, if we can raise $5,000, that would be super cool. Turns out 28 goalies signed up and we raised $32,000 that year. And we thought, hold on, like, I think we've got something here. So we, the next year we challenged one of our rival clubs to do it, kind of like a fundraising competition. And so the Howard Huskies jumped in and they loved it and they raised a ton of money with us. And so then our tier 2 league, the CBHL, the year after that, the third year was like, hey, we're in and we're going to get all of the clubs in our area to participate. And really from that point on, this thing just grew. I mean, just organically just grew and grew and grew. And, clubs and teams would come play in Ashburn and they'd see our big pink brick wall banner up in the lobby and they'd be like, well, I want to do that. And so slowly but surely, we built our own software. We built our own website. We just reached out into the community. We had some really fantastic partnerships with, the Washington Capitals have been so generous and fantastic with us. Mitch Korn, who's obviously the goalie whisperer and just a fantastic human being. He helped us. The Goalie Guild and Justin Goldman really helped us just expand across the US and Canada now too. So, that's how we started this sport that helped my kids so much during a tough time for my family. And we decided to try to build this and it just took off.
And you've now raised over $2 million since. Yes, and it sounds like it's growing every year.
It's growing every year. We raise more and more money every year. We get more goalies that have never experienced it every year. And once they've done it once, they come back again and again because it really means a lot. And another part of the event that we think is super important is that the goalie community, this is the only thing they have like this, where goalies together, they join together in this effort. And people really pay attention to their goalie during October. They realize how hard they work. They see them as leaders. And so it's just a month where we can do this really great thing and help fight cancer and also shine a light on these really hardworking athletes who are super great human beings too. So somehow we struck a chord, and it's just grown.
Well, this is striking a chord for our audience right now, even though October, much like InGoal magazine, you can come to the party a little late and still have a heck of a time. We hopped in a week into October. By the time people hear this, we're going to be 10 days in. Not too late to get involved. You've got some great prizing. There are rewards for everybody that does the best fundraising. There are milestone giveaways if you hit certain levels. Maybe walk us through some of those elements. You had a couple of our favorite goalies join recently. You mentioned the Washington Capitals and Mitch Korn, and what great support there. Charlie Lindgren, who's a big friend of the podcast. Darcy Kemper, Stanley Cup champion, both on board recently. Just because it's already October doesn't mean it's too late to get started.
It is not too late at all. In fact, we have goalies sign up at the very end of October and jump in and start, entering their saves and getting donations from family and friends. So it's not too late. In fact, it's actually prime time to join. And it's a competition. I mean, obviously we're doing this because we're raising money to fight cancer, but
hey, we're goalies. We're goalies.
I was like, goalies are competitive. So we decided that we would give fundraising prizes based on the milestones that you achieve. So, if you raise $250, you get a helmet sticker. And then we have we've got baseball hats. We've got awesome pink jerseys that you can win, October Saves pink jerseys. So if you raise $2,000, you can get that. And you earn all of these prizes as you go. So it's cumulative. So you start, you get the sticker, you get the hat, you get the shorts as you keep going. And then we have really big top prizes for our top 5 fundraisers in the US and Canada. So you can win goalie pads that you get to pick how they look. You get to win goalie pads. There's helmets, stick and glove. I mean, we have all of the top equipment that the parents, spend so much money on.
You know how expensive it is because you've got goalies in the family, right?
I was going to say, I have 2 goalies, so I know how this is. And I know how awesome it would be if my kids would win a pair of leg pads. That's for sure. So, and then we just have fun prizes as we go. You guys, InGoal magazine, you guys are sponsoring our Top 10 Tuesday, which we do every Tuesday to show the top 10 goalies, fundraising goalies that week. And so you guys are offering super cool prizes like signed jerseys and sticks and stuff like that. And it's just really fun. I mean, we know that these kids and adults are doing this for all the right reasons. They're doing it for their grandmothers who are fighting cancer, their moms, their friends, their, people in their lives that are fighting cancer. But then they get to win this fun stuff as they go. And like you just mentioned, we've got some super cool people that are participating with us. So, Darcy Kemper, Charlie Lindgren, they're actually signed up and counting their saves with the Washington Capitals, which is amazing. So, and then we get different, Jeremy Swayman, he always pops in with some really great messaging for our folks to keep them fired up. And he pays attention to what everybody's doing. So it is a goalie community event. And we get people from all around who are participating, and we'd love to have, anybody else who was hearing this now and would like to join, go to octobersaves.org and sign up. We'd love to have you.
Okay, and you can find out more details. We'll have them in the show notes on this episode, as well as if you check on the website, ingoalmag.com or octobersaves.org. We've got links on our website that we'll keep up near the top of the website for the whole month. And of course, octobersaves.org, all the information there. It is split between Canada and the US. They have to sort of run and manage 2 separate entities just for, charity and tax reasons. To my fellow Canadian goalies in the Canadian Goalie Union, we're lagging a little bit behind, folks. So consider this a challenge. There's a competitive element here, and we lose it. So let's pick it up. I'm going to try and sign up here. That's not going to help the total unless I get a lot of people donating a ton of money, because anybody who's seen me play knows there aren't a lot of saves happening out there. But hey, listen, like Laura said, it's not too late. It may already be October, but you don't have to sign up before the month starts. There's plenty of opportunity to get involved here. She mentioned the prizing. We're adding a Carey Price signed Montreal Canadiens jersey. Connor Hellebuck used autograph stick. Actually, I'm pretty sure, based on the timing of when we got it and the model, it's his Vezina Trophy winning season. So a lot of great prizes that we can add to the list. A lot of great prizes they've already got available. And more importantly, a lot of great causes that are helped by October Saves. Well, last one, in terms of dispensing the money and the different organizations, there are so many good causes around cancer and so many great places you can put the money. I understand there are certain elements, if you reach certain levels or you win certain areas, you can help direct the funds as well. Like for myself, say if I were to rally a troop here in British Columbia, my BC Cancer Agency was vital to my dad getting through leukemia. Is that something where in certain states and certain areas, you might have an ability to even affect where it goes?
So yes. So if your state in the US or province in Canada, if you raise over a certain amount, so if you raise over $50,000, we will direct 5,000 of that pot towards a local cancer charity in your area. So, and we love to hear which different charities sort of speak to you. So then we have to vet them and make sure that that our money's going to the right place. But we do love to hear what inspires people. But so if your province raises $50,000, then 5,000 will go to that. If you raise $100,000, then 10,000 will go, and so on. And it's really actually easy to do that. It's a team effort. So if all of these goalies in an area get together and decide, let's do this, then we can really direct some money to an area that is helping in your province or in the United States, in your state. And like, for example, if you see New Jersey right now, New Jersey is already over the $50,000 mark, which is crazy. We're not even in the first 2 weeks and they're already past 50,000. And so we're actually working with the New Jersey Devils, and we're going to be giving the money to their Hockey Fights Cancer beneficiary, which is great. They do research in the New Jersey, Rutgers area. And it's, so you can see, we let the kids see, like, this is where your money is going. It's going to your community. It's going to research that's helping you. And we're very, very proud of that aspect of the whole event.
Laura, there's lots to be proud of here. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us today, for letting us hop on board late. And above all else, thank you very much for being an inspiration and for starting such a great organization and rallying the goalie union all over North America to help such a great cause. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're proud to have you guys on board. We appreciate it.
Remember, folks, October Saves, easy for me to say, octobersaves.org. Make sure you go sign up now. It's fun. It's for a great cause. It'll make it hey, listen, we all love saves. So let's make them count.
Well, and listen, we tell every coach, your goalies will get more shutouts in October because they know people are watching them. So this is good for many reasons.
Actually, I can think of one good reason. This is on a selfish note, goalies, you go to the scorekeeper because we all know this is a problem. Are you sick and tired of not getting credited for enough saves in your game? You go to the scorekeeper before the game and tell them how much those saves mean, and maybe you'll finally get them all counted in a game. So we can finally fix scorekeeping around North America thanks to October Saves.
This is good for so many reasons.
Awesome stuff, Laura. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. And we still continue to find new ways to raise money, raise awareness in this lifetime battle against cancer. So great on Laura and Woody. What a fabulous just a campaign.
Well, and it's the goalie union, right? It's the goalie union getting together for a good cause. And you know what? Sometimes in the goalie union, we have beefs. And the reality is, as we discussed at the end there with Laura, this might actually help one of your beefs for the month of October. How many of us are sick and tired? And I know, Darren, in your beer league, they don't count saves, but are sick and tired. How many parents out there are sick and tired of the scorekeepers not counting all the shots? Just go over and whisper to them that every shot raises money for cancer, and they will make sure to pay enough attention and count all your shots in a game. So we're not only helping fight cancer, we're helping get correct shot counts, because nobody wants to screw you out of saves when they're going to such a good cause. So me and Laura came up with that at the end of the interview, and I think that should be one of our new taglines. Folks, if you're sitting on the fence And hey, listen, I know by the time you listen to this, it's going to be October 10th, probably. And maybe some people listen to it. Not everyone listens at the moment it comes out. But you can still get involved. You can still make a difference. You can still sign up for this. Last couple of weeks, there's lots of prizing, as Hutch said. And at the end of the day, it's for the right reasons. The Goalie Union getting together to support a great cause. Hop on board. Like I said, if you're sitting on the fence about an InGoal subscription, all new annual subscriptions this month, 50% of the money straight to October Saves to help their fundraising. There's never been a better time to grab one and help support them as well.
Hutch, I mean, this is a really cool thing, but it's one that all families can get around, whether you're a goaltender or not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everybody can get involved. But I just have to say again, like, Woody, you just gave me the greatest reason to go get on board October Saves ever. I mean, I was feeling pretty smug, we're doing something here as InGoal. I don't need to do any more. But very selfishly, that chance to go to the team and say, hey, you missed 4 shots on Matty tonight. We got to get those down. I think we're going to have to sign him up pretty quick because goalie parents all know what it's like. You're sitting in the stands and you're so proud of your kid playing so well and they miss those shots and you look every time up at the scoreboard just like Woody does in his beer league games. And it drives you nuts when they're not counting them. But also you feel super guilty going to anybody because it's volunteers doing it. And they're in the box where it's almost impossible to see half the play. But now I got a really good reason. So I think we might be signing up. Fantastic stuff.
Woody, what's the over-under on you making a 50 save performance next time out?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I mean, normally I'm going to take the under because not that I don't get 50 shots. But if I can juice that scorekeeper, tell them that it's for a good cause. Now, my downside is I don't have many games left in the month of October. And thanks to a little bout of COVID, I'm not going to be playing anytime soon. But Laura said, you can juice this in practice too. You can tell people you can practice saves count too. And you can just, juice your total, anything to sort of raise money, make sure your pledges are paying out the max amount. Not that I have practices, Darren, but I'm sure I can get in a shinny skate here and there and, tell the boys, just fly out or nobody play defenses if they do anyways, and we'll get those totals up. So I like my chances of making 50 saves, say on my Monday night hockey skate next week. Doesn't mean I'm also not going to give up a crap ton of goals, but I'm going for 50. We're definitely going to juice the total that night.
Octobersaves.org. You go to the homepage, it'll tell you Canada, the United States. You go from there. If you tell people, the parents of forwards or defensemen on your team, they can just make a pledge. They don't have to have a goaltender in, or they can make a pledge towards your goaltender. There's lots of ways to get involved. You don't have to be related or be directly connected to that person that is wearing the pad. So awesome stuff. We'll track it as we go along. A wonderful endeavor for the month of October. So our feature interview this week is Jeremy Swayman. The feature interview brought to you by Sensorina VR, Hutch.
Sensorina. I wonder how many people are going into this season just wishing they'd done a little bit more. I know Woody is. He gets on the ice and he's thinking, oh man, I could probably make a few more saves for the October Saves campaign if I'd worked a little bit harder this summer. Make a resolution that you're going to do something every day this year to become that little bit better. And I don't care whether you're tossing balls against the wall or a little bit of extra off ice work, but one of the best ways you can do it, guys, is to hop on board with Sensorina. Sensorina lets you train anywhere, anytime, learning to read releases, learning to read plays, working on your eye-hand coordination, working on your decision-making in various scenarios on the ice. It's just an unbelievably revolutionary tool for goaltenders. And if you want to be a better goaltender later this season, next season when you're trying out again for that team, grab Sensorina. It really is a game changer. And we're very thankful that they've been on board for so long, bringing all these great interviews to everybody on the InGoal Radio podcast.
It's all those drills that you have in your bag, all put into one, and makes a way to work on your coordination, your eyesight. You can do the concussion platform and establish your baseline. There's so many benefits to this program and this campaign that you just put on your head and you make it go and you disappear into another world. So Sensorina VR is awesome, just like Jeremy Swayman. one of my new favorite goaltenders in the National Hockey League, both because of his performance. He put on a show in front of me last year in Vegas that was outstanding. And then his personality, it goes beyond that. Awesome stuff, Woody.
Yeah, and hey, before we get to Jeremy, remember, folks, stick around afterwards because we forgot to tease it, but we've got the new Optik 3 lineup coming from the Hockey Shop and thehockeyshop.com right after this interview. So don't just listen to Jeremy and be like, that was awesome, I'm out. We've got more stuff coming after this interview. But first, Jeremy Swayman. Really excited to welcome back to the InGoal Radio podcast, a return appearance for Jeremy Swayman. Now, the last time we caught up with you, my friend, you were just finishing up an incredible season at the University of Maine. You had just made the decision to turn pro. And here we are just 2 years later, and you've already sort of established yourself in the National Hockey League. 30 wins, .920 save percentage, all rookie team. Is it been as much of a whirlwind living it as it would appear from the outside? Because not a lot of guys transition as fast as you've done this.
Yeah, it seems like yesterday since I talked to you, so that's crazy. All that time has flown by. Full experience, man. I've been absolutely loving it. And, all the experience I've gained through each season, obviously through each game, it's been incredible. And I'm definitely really excited for what's to come this year as well.
What's been the biggest transition? I mean, we hear from guys a lot that talk about just going first year pro can be a bigger jump than AHL to NHL. Just the expectations that come with, the American Hockey League and the pro lifestyle. You transitioned so quickly and got a taste of the NHL and success so fast. Looking back at it, what was the biggest change for you? Was it the style of game being played, the quality of attack? Did you have to change anything? What was that those first few months like?
Yeah, I think everything goes into account, right? It's one league in the world for hockey. And, these guys are extremely talented and definitely seeing the difference with pace of play, intensity, skill level, vision, all those things come into play. And, the same way I was playing in college and the AHL definitely had to change. And like that jump alone from college to pro in general, whether I was changing my depth, my reads and stuff, knowing we're all 5R at that, a time on the ice. But from the AHL to the NHL, it's amazing how good these defense are, and so it's pretty cool to see how in a way your job almost gets easier because these defensemen read the play so well and they shut down, high danger chances. And when they do come, it's your turn to step up, right? It's why, goalies have a job. It's because we're the last line of defense and we need to do whatever we can to help our team win games. And so it's a total team effort. And I've, really enjoyed being a part of this system, the leadership in that locker room with the Bruins. It's unmatched. And the things that I've learned just by watching and obviously talking to the guys that have been in the league for years and years, I couldn't be happier being a young guy in that room.
Now, it's funny you mentioned that. We've heard that before, and it would seem absurd, I think, to a lot of outsiders to suggest that in some ways the NHL for a goalie can be easier than the AHL. But we've heard that before. Like, guys are where they're supposed to be more often, a little less scrambly. Can that be true?
Definitely. And obviously guys in the AHL are extremely skilled and smart too. And that transition alone from college to the AHL was, eye-opening for me too. To just see how clean these guys can break pucks out, make simple plays, and find each other on the ice. So yeah, every level you get up, guys are going to be better and better. And that goes for forwards too. Don't get me wrong. These guys know how to make plays. They know how to sift passes through skates. So at every level, you have to rise, and as well as your teammates and players rise to that occasion as well. So it's a higher pace of play, and it's extremely fun to be a part of.
Now, does it get, the word I use sometimes is predictable. Does the game get a little more predictable at the NHL level when that structure's in place and everyone's executing? Would that be a good description?
No.
No? Okay, there we go.
Hockey plays happen, right? No matter what, it doesn't matter how it looks or how you draw it up. Hockey plays happen. Bad bounces, crazy bounces off of, chippy ice and stuff. So you just never know what happens. So you basically play what's in front of you, but knowing that there's a structure at hand too is definitely a good, ally to lean on and understand, okay, puck goes here, it's more likely that this player is going to go here and whatnot. So But yeah, at the end of the day, it's playing hockey. It's a game. It's unpredictable, and you want to just have a good understanding of where a puck could come or a definite offensive scoring chance could be potential.
Two things you touched on that had to change at the pro level and NHL level: depth and reads. Walk me through maybe the first one for starters. Depth. Did you have to just back off a little bit? That seems to be a common trend.
I think so. I'm a pretty aggressive goalie. I like to cut down the angle, really give the shooter nothing to see when they do have the puck in a high danger zone. But the most dangerous guy on the ice is most likely the guy without the puck. And understanding that he's going to have the ability to do a no-look pass backdoor, you want to give yourself a chance to make that save as well with having a proper amount of depth to make the first save if he does end up shooting. And so that depth and a little bit of drift and having flow with the game, that's definitely been a transition for me that I've actually really enjoyed. And it's made my game have a little more flow and a little more pace, and it's been a lot more enjoyable to play.
Okay, so flow. When you talk about it, I watched some clips, but when you watch saves in isolation, that's not all the moments. Walk us through. Obviously, all goalies listening, when they hear flow, the first thing they probably think is backwards flow. When I watch some clips, I see a lot of inside out, and then once you read open look, you get out quickly. What do you mean by flow, and how did you have to adjust it at this level?
Flow is when you're matching the same speed as a rush coming down the ice. So you want to make
backwards
sure
flow.
Backwards flow, correct.
Okay.
And a lot of goalie coaches will say you want to set your feet when you have a shot, or else you're going to be moving, you're going to be thinking about different things. That's 100% valid. Don't get me wrong. However, these players are paid too, right? So they're going to make their shots regardless. You want to give yourself the best chance to have a little bit of drift and understand that there's a backdoor play available. And so you're going to give yourself the best chance to make that first initial save. But at the same time, you need to have the chance to make the backdoor save, or else you're just going to let in open net backdoor goals the whole time, assuming your defense the play down. But that's how you have to play. You have to be, defensive, understand where all the threats are at a given play.
Obviously, skating has always been a strength of your game. So adding a little more flow, it sounds like, than you maybe had in college. Was it an easy step? Was it a thing you had to dial timing in? Were there things that Goalie Bob helped you with in terms of getting comfortable with playing with a little more flow?
Yeah, definitely Goalie Bob's a huge ally, for that transition. Even Alfie, we were talking about that in college, but you could definitely get away with it a little more, being on top of your crease, whether it's like heels on top of paint or even outside the paint, right? It's like, I could get away with that because of my skating ability and trusting my feet a little longer. But at this level, it's like you really can't, because no matter how good you are with your bat, that he even has flow and understands that, he needs to have a little bit of drift in order to make a backdoor save at this speed. So that's the biggest difference.
Do you have to, is obviously situational? When we talk about flow, it's probably more rush. Once you get into end zone, is it still, we go back to a little more inside out and read the situation before challenging?
Say that again. So it's like, rush.
Well, flow, I think of flow and I think of rush chances more often than not. So once we get in zone and things are set up, can you still find a way to play with a little flow, or is it all still where you get back to a little more inside out sort of neutral depth and pick your spots to challenge?
Yeah, it's definitely box control when it's in zone, when it's like a power play. So, you're not going to be outside of paint a lot during a power play, especially at the NHL level. You're just looking at really cut off angles and understand that there's tip options and backdoor play options, and there's also grade A shots coming. So that flow is going to be definitely internal crease, and you're not really going to have a lot of flow. It's just going to be a really small baby drift, maybe, to have like a little tap. You're just going to have a little bit of recoil, and then it's going to be bang bang play. And understanding that you go to your post, it's probably going to be a good chance you're going to save the puck. But if you're going outside your post, you're going to be swimming.
It's funny because I saw a lot of those clips. So two things that stood out to me when I was watching video, Jeremy. One, the ability that you always seem to target that post on those backdoor and hit it. And the second one is, even in bang bang plays, your ability to make that push, even in a super wide stance or from a wide stance, and come across with a wide butterfly and not give up your hands. I was going to just ask you what things have remained staples of your game. Is that something you work on actively? Because when I go through highlights, boy, does it stand out. Where a lot of guys might have the ice covered, but maybe tilting forward, you manage to keep that torso upright and those hands active. It's really fun to watch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, definitely it's what you want to do, right? It doesn't always happen that way, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of core. That's what I like to really work on during, the off season, especially during the season too. It's just understanding that, you try to cover as much net as possible. And, I'm definitely susceptible. Like I do, if I make it a desperation save, one, it probably means I'm out of position. So I try to make a lot of saves, like look routine that necessarily aren't, always routine. However, when there is a hockey play at hand and there's a bounce or there's a really good pass, like you're going to do whatever you can to get over there, no matter how it looks. And that's just one of the things that I want to be big when I'm going across the net, understanding that, his angle isn't great probably, and I can do whatever I can, no matter how it looks, to get over there and cut off that angle. And sometimes I hit the post and sometimes I don't, but regardless, I'm going to try to save the puck and cut off as much angle from the puck's point of view before it hits the net.
And the post is your, like you said, you don't hit it every time, but that's your ideal target to getting back onto angle.
Right. Assuming there could be a rebound, or could be a crashing net, just different stuff. And you want to stay in between your posts because you're not going to save pucks outside of them.
Makes a ton of sense. Hey, other side of things, mentorship. We talked about goalie Bob, Sideshow Bob, as he was known when he was here in Vancouver. Bob Asenza, the goalie coach with the Boston Bruins, longtime goalie coach of the Boston Bruins. One of my favorites to talk to. What's he been like as an influence? You mentioned reads earlier. Is he more of a, like, I know there's technical elements that he works on, but is also just the experience that he brings in terms of how to manage these things? And do you guys go through reads? Like, how do you learn reads at the NHL level? Using video?
Absolutely, yeah. Video is a great ally. And, it's definitely a transition for me coming from college. There's a lot of video because we had a week between games. Pro level, we don't have that luxury. So video is going to be 5 minutes tops probably, and it's going to be key points throughout a game that you just had that are just going to be scenarios that we can tweak and fix on. Bob's been amazing with that. It's been awesome because I used to be like, with Alf, I was very video oriented, understanding like, hey, this is a play that you need to shut down because of this and this. With goalie Bob, it's a scenario, we talk about it, we move on, because you can't be thinking about, one play, because you're not going to see the same play ever again, right? You'd see similar plays, but not the same exact play. So it's like, you understand the concepts, you fix it and move on. And that's a bang, bang mentality. Like, I love that. And when you keep things simple like that and you don't just keep asking questions, you don't keep thinking about it, then it just comes naturally. And him and I have an incredible relationship. So it's been really, really awesome to work with him. And, I'm definitely excited to keep that, continue it for a long time.
Speaking of relationships, you and Linus have basically reinvented goalie love, like the post game hugs. What has it meant to you to have a playing partner with that type of relationship? And like, is it cool? Like, is it cool to see people all over? Like, we see it now. People, like kids, the hug, the post game. They're sending videos in. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. Like, this is a thing now. What's it like being a part of, like, how much does it mean, first of all, to have a supportive playing partner?
Oh, that is first and foremost most important thing. I mean, it's incredible. I was just golfing with him yesterday. We had an amazing day. Like, it's so special to have someone like that on a team in general. And for it to be a goalie partner, it's even better because we just understand what we go through, right? Like, we're there for each other. We know what it's like to be a goalie in, Boston. And, it's pretty incredible to have that support from, the one guy that you really are competing with every day. But we understand that, we're both going to be here for a long time if we understand that we're going to do whatever we can to help this team win. And that's a pretty special thing. But yeah, we had no idea that it was going to turn into what it is now. And granted, we are so thankful for it. But we really harp on, understanding that it's not for the show whatsoever. Like, we literally do it because we just love each other. And, what it's turned into today, and see how it's impacted the communities, obviously the youth communities and different, light developments and even junior goalies. Like, it's so cool to see that because when I was growing up, we didn't have that, and I'm sure same with him and many other goalies in my generation. So it's pretty incredible to see what it's turned into. And we're definitely going to support it and continue it for a long time.
I think that's what makes it the best is it's so obviously organic. There's no,
Sure.
there's nothing fake about it. It's so genuine. I think that's why people flock to it. Off the ice, you mentioned golfing. You guys are clearly tight. What about comparing notes in terms of style? Now, I know Linus is like, he's like one of our ultimate like gear guys, right? Like he's dialed
Sure.
in on all the elements and style. He's got good style. Like, are you guys comparing notes on how you play, situational things? You're obviously two unique, different goaltenders. How much do you lean on each other in that back and forth of how you're managing, say, certain save situations or penalty kill or things like that, and how you approach the game on the ice?
Yeah, I think, we bounce off each other really well. We are very different styles, right? Like he's a lot bigger. He uses his size to his advantage, and I'm definitely aggressive. I like to challenge shooters and really make them make the first move, and then have a little bit of patience with understanding like they could make, another play and trust in my feet. So it is really cool to have that, not polar opposite whatsoever, but just an opposite in different transitions and like, how he plays at a post or breakaways or obviously in zone play. And it's really cool to see that because it only helps me. And I hope that, when he looks down at my end, he sees what I can do to help improve his game. So yeah, we definitely talk about, what we would do in certain situations, but it's not like we're sitting down and talking shop all day. Cause at the end of the day, we know why we're here. We understand, our styles, and we definitely want to continue that trend because it's been working for us.
Are you going to get him doing any sort of, I maybe I'm using the wrong phrase here, but I saw some of the highlights of the video from the tour, the media tour. We've seen it in practices. We know how fleet you are on your feet. We know how well you skate. Is he going to be doing any figure skating style line drills? And jokes aside, how, like that edge work, man, like and the ability to skate like that, as much as it becomes a fun thing, it's a staple of your game.
Definitely. No, absolutely. It's like I'm a complete believer in it. I do it every day. So I love it. And it's funny, like I got him doing it once and he was a quick to say, you know what, we're good with that. But it was pretty funny. But yeah, we bounce ideas off each other all the time. What works for me might not work for him and vice versa. So regardless, we're happy where we're at.
Well, we see so many different warm-ups, right? And everything is quite often for goalies concentrated in the crease movement patterns. When you're doing those types of movements, that type of skating, like, is it important to sort of just like maybe just share with us, actually, let me put it that way. Just share with us why that's important, why that type of edge work is important to your game and what you get out of that.
Well, it's a good question. I think, constantly using super aggressive movements like T-pushes, shuffles, reverse VHs. It's really important to work on that. Don't get me wrong, and I do every day.
Of course.
And I think just a different way to warm up with really doing movements that you actually do implement in the game, like the one I kind of spin around with. That's pretty much exactly what you do when you go to play a puck. You just open your hips and you get back there. And the whole concept of hopping is just getting your balance down. So I think it's just a different way to warm up. It's not as taxing on your hips and as on your, ankles necessarily, but I think, that's just something that's worked for me and, definitely want to continue it.
Oh, we talked last time about some of the unique things you learned at Maine for managing your body, for working out and routines. Talked about your mom doing bar ballet. Are you still doing incorporating those elements into your training? Have you backed off some of the ballet stuff, or do you still like the dorsiflexion and the ankle stuff mobility that you get from that type of work?
Well, it's worked so far, so damn right I'm keeping it up.
And I was kind of curious because I wondered at the NHL level, chirps and things like that, going back and sticking with what's worked for you and staying true to that. I was curious whether there'd be any pressure to back off any of that stuff. Maybe pressure's the wrong word, but you know what I mean? You know how it can be.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I really could care less what other people say, right? Whatever works for someone is unique, and guys, I think, actually thrive off it. I have never had someone be like, what the hell are you doing? Because, they understand what they've gone through to be here, and they understand what I've gone through to be here. So I think guys have a really good mutual respect for what guys do, whether how, different it is or whatnot. But, yeah, it's been really cool. A lot of support around the locker room and around the league too. So it's been awesome.
And the bar ballet stuff, is that still walk me through how, like, what portion of your, is it something like there's a couple little aspects that you'll work into a daily stretching routine, or how does it look as part of your life now?
Yeah, it's definitely stuff that I think a lot of players are actually doing. They just don't understand they're doing it. So
Right.
it's just a part of just different flexions that, players are doing every day in a dynamic warm up necessarily, but not necessarily like, super focused on like, oh, this could be a bar technique or whatnot. It's trainers around the league. They're so talented. They're so smart. They know how to incorporate, using the same muscles if it's in the same way or different ways. So,
Right. So for you, it helped with ankle flexion and dorsiflexion and something like that is something that we see a lot of people work on, right, in different ways under different names. So yeah, totally makes sense. Last
exactly.
two real quick. We talked about the organic goalie love. I got to say, we just joined October Saves at InGoal Magazine and proud to support them. We're a little late getting on board. I've seen some of your messages to the group, always taking the time. Important to stay involved in community efforts like that and groups like October Saves.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't be happier being a part of that. They reached out again this year, and I was super excited about that. What an incredible organization, and just to think that I could be a part of it, kind of an advocate and really supporting. That's really special to me. So I couldn't be happier. And, it's an incredible cause. Obviously, whenever you can make saves for a good reason, besides, making yourself feel good about a couple glove saves, that just shows what this game is allowing us to do these days. And that's, well, to be a part of something bigger than just a game.
And my last one, we talked about influences, we talked about role models. You came in behind one of the legends of the game in your first year in Tuukka Rask. Were there any lessons learned from him? And what, I guess we'll start there. That's the first one. I got a part two on this one because, like, if you look behind me on the wall, we got Carey Price, Henrik Lundqvist, and Roberto Luongo. I think you wear one in part because of being a fan of Roberto Luongo.
Sure.
There are a ton of like some of the all-time greats in the past just 2 or 3 years that have retired and that we've lost. How do you look at that? Like, we've kind of lost role models. Do you look at that like, hey, I want to be the next role model? Maybe not actively, but do you see yourself as part of this next young generation that's filling these massive skates that have left the game?
Well, 100%. That's circle of life, right? Circle of hockey life. It's important that there's a next man up mentality. Have that. It's a goal of mine. It's something that I really take true and understand that if I do whatever I can to help my team win now, that will happen. But it's not like, a me thing whatsoever. But, having the opportunity to play against the greats and then now, have a personal friendship with Tukes, like, it's incredible. It's something like a dream come true, but in a way I would never tell him that because we're boys, but he knows it. But it's pretty cool to have that, just friendship and understand that these guys are all human and they've been through the same stuff that we all have at this level, and just to be able to learn from them and understand how they cope with the ups and downs of a season and seasons plurally with these guys' careers. It couldn't be a better ally to have. So I definitely pick his brain, a ton to this day still. And, it's been really incredible to have him around Boston and continue that great friendship that we created.
It really is amazing when you look at the past. Like, we're talking about, I mean, maybe it's just me personally, because these are the guys I grew up with. And I guess for you a little bit too, we talked about the number one and everything. To sort of look back and like, man, like there's no Carey. Like, I think of all the guys that, Tuukka, like, that were role models for entire generations of goalies. And it feels like you guys are the next men up in that rotation. Like, the changing of the guard over the last 3 years. I was just thinking about it the other day. Like, it really is dramatic.
No, it definitely is. It is pretty cool to think that I'm, one of those guys that are in that conversation now. And you don't really think about that, to be honest, when you're playing, but, talking to you, cool to think about that. But then, I forget about it because you really,
yeah, you can't think about it that way.
100%. Yeah. It's just, I'm playing hockey, the game I love most. I understand that if I do whatever I can to help my team win and work my butt off every day, everything's going to fall into place. So that's all I focus on, and really don't look at, the picture that has been being painted.
Well, we enjoy watching you in the moment. Leave it to us to worry about the big picture and annoy you with questions about it every once in a while. Jeremy, it's been a couple of years, but it feels like it was just yesterday, as you said. And I know our audience will feel the same way. Make sure they go back and listen to the original and then catch up with this one. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the InGoal Radio podcast today.
No, it's been great. Thanks so much, Kevin.
I wonder how long you could talk to him before you go, okay, I think we're actually done. Not because you're done due to the clock, but done because of content.
Well, I mean, are you asking how long I could talk to him or how long he could put up with me? Because those might be two different questions. I don't know how much longer he could put up with me, but always a good sport and always so gracious with his time, and lots of great takeaways there for goalies of every age. And I would recommend that, everyone that enjoyed that, if you haven't already, if you're new to the InGoal Radio podcast, search it out in the archives. The interview we did with Jeremy and Alfie Michaud together, coming off his final year where he was the Mike Richter winner as the top goalie in college hockey, just as he signs the contract to go to the Boston Bruins. We get into the ball shooting machines. Right. We get into, and he touched about it in this interview as well, dorsiflexion and the use of bar ballet, a course he took at Maine. And he added ballet and some of the routines as part of ballet to his routines. You see the skating he does when he goes on the ice, like the almost like figure skating in full goalie gear. We talked about that a little bit. Like this is not just him going out and having fun. Yeah, there's an element to that, but there's very real sort of benefits that he's found from that type of skating and that type of work off the ice. And we get into a lot of the sort of the background of that. There's an article at ingoalmag.com about the bar ballet, as well as a routine that people can do, to sort of get introduced to it. And Jeremy talking about how good it was for him. That's all at ingoalmag.com and in that past interview with Jeremy. We'll make sure we tease that on social once this episode comes out.
And he's also part of the rebound of the number one club, wearing that digit that had kind of gone away for a little bit, but it's back in numbers, Hutch, which has to warm your heart.
It sure does. Always one of mine growing up, and one of my favorite goaltenders. Oh man, I'm not this old, but yes, Jacques Plante. Yes, Jacques Plante. I got the great book for Christmas when I was 5 or 6 years old on goaltending by Jacques Plante. So number one is always warmed my heart, and to see some more guys using that in the National Hockey League, I think is fantastic.
Swayman's one of those guys where I think if he had a couple of hours in the Lower Mainland, he would stop by the hockey shop, Source for Sports Surrey.
100%. I bet he would. And what he would find these days, even though I'm sure he's quite comfortable in his True Gear, is the all-new Optik 3 line. Normally this is the time of year we're teasing you with specialty items, chest protectors, maybe things that you didn't think you needed. We're always talking about sort of sale items, and there are still sale items on right now at thehockeyshop.com. We are all back to hockey now, but the back to hockey sale continues. But they've also got some new stuff, because Brian's, as they have done in the past, but not for the past little while due to the pandemic, usually launches gear around the start of the season, and they're back to doing that with the Optik 3 line. So we checked in with Cam and got the lowdown on what's new, what's improved in the new Brian's Optik 3 pads, glove, and blocker. Welcome back to the Hockey Shop, Source for Sports. I'm here with Cam, Matt Wibben, Goalie Utopia. A little quick hitter just for the podcast. We'll catch you up with a video reminder that each of these gear segments can be seen online on our YouTube channels, on Instagram TV. For now, though, we're going to do a real quick and tidy and tight. Cam, it's that time of year where normally we're talking about sale stuff, but when it comes to Brian's, we're back to new releases. Been a couple years, been a little time here since Brian's rolled out some new product. Optik 3 is in store and available now. Tell us what's new, what's changed, what's exciting about the new Optik 3 line from Brian's.
Optik 3, yeah. Come check it out. Obviously, just landed yet, so we're working on getting it on the website and whatnot, but available for custom order now. Some changes that have been brought over from the Optic, or not Optic 3, but the Genetic 5, actually. So they've introduced their Bri-Core technology into the Optic lineup. So you're going to find it in that upper portion of the thigh rise. And then we're also going to find it in the blocker board as well. And also in that in the glove, just a little piece, I believe in the cuff it is.
Okay, so Bri-Core, for those who haven't heard of it or not sure what it's about, just give us a quick rundown what it is and more importantly, frankly, what it does.
So Bri-Core is a carbon foam that's then sandwiched between two pieces of like HD foam. Basically, you're getting increased stiffness profile. So one of the things that Brian's wanted to address was kind of those like kind of trapdoor style goals and like that thigh rise losing its stiffness a little bit too much. So this is giving that same style of kind of like rebound pop and also aiding the durability long term of the pad.
Okay, the one thing we always loved about Brian's, you could kind of shape the curvature and it would hold it. Their foams would hold it really well. But as you mentioned, if you ordered too flexible in the thigh, you could get that trapdoor where a puck would hit it and would actually swing open as it softened up. Can you still sort of set them up to hold a certain shape? This just allows them to hold it a little better?
Yeah, so I mean, Brian still has their 3 cores for the Optic pad themselves. They have their Max, their Fly, and their Flex. Max is the technical stock core of the pad. So in theory, it's stiffest iteration. Fly and Flex, Fly being their Flex being their softest, and Fly kind of being in the middle. So, I mean, again, they have the opportunity to be able to dial it in and, set yourself up for exactly kind of the way you like it. And to answer your question, yes, it will kind of hold that shape, but that now Max core with the addition of this Bri-Core as well is quite a bit stiffer. So it'll be a lot harder to kind of get that bend in there.
Okay, overall sort of fit and feel and who it's for on the Optic 3 leg pads. I'm assuming this continues the trend where Genetic is your softer, more flexible pad from the knee up. We're looking at Optic being still having some flex in the boot, but stiffer maybe through the shin and especially above the knee. Does that sound right about a right description in terms of differentiation between the two lines?
Correct.
In terms of one of the other features we saw on Optic pads is that skinnier, that thinner outer roll. I see that continues. What's been your feedback on that, and what do you see as a positive in terms of why that works beyond just cutting weight?
It actually aids a lot in the overall visual look of the pad. It gives the illusion of a wider pad because you don't see that outer roll kind of puffed out. But mainly speaking, like because it is beveled, it's helping to stop those pucks from like skipping over and kind of rolling. It's allowing it to kind of deflect back in front of the goalie themselves and give it a chance to get that good cover and keep it from, again, bouncing kind of over and into the net.
One of the other things that we saw with the Genetic where they sort of added a lift on the bottom of the boot. I see that this has what they're calling an internal boot lift. I'm assuming that's a little bit of extra padding sort of in that boot, sort of where it sits above the skate. Is that similar here? And does that alter the fit in any way, the way we saw? I've talked to some goalies that are longtime Brian's goalies. They went in to buy Genetic 5 and they actually had to go down a size because they felt that pad was sitting up higher on the legs. Are we looking at a similar thing here with the internal boot lift?
So far, from what we've seen, no. However, again, we're still in the early stages of getting that pad in, so I'd like to do some more kind of ratifying and double checking the size. But so far, as I'm told, we're still 1-to-1 at this current stage. But a little bit more research required on my side to make sure that that's still correct.
So you can always get fit, come in and check it out in person at the Hockey Shop Source for Sports. So ask any questions or check them out online at thehockeyshop.com. A couple more features on the pad. Optional upper calf strap. I guess that's what we call the old professor strap. I love that they've made it optional for those that love it. You can keep it, add it. For those that don't, you can do without. We see their smart strap, calf strap system. I love their toe tie with sort of the adjustable lead, the leather tab at the front that allows you to adjust the gap. OptiSlide, one of the better sliding surfaces available. Of course, that is just basically their old Primo material. Brilliant to put it on the inside of the pad because it slides so well. And the Pro 2 knee pad system where it still comes with knee pads, Cam, and they can be either worn just as separate knee pads or you can actually attach them with a Velcro strap to the back of the pads.
Correct. Yeah, you do have that option of obviously, again, like you said, wearing them independently or having them attached to the pad themselves.
Walk me through the catch glove 40-degree break. It looks like it's got what was sort of the darling edge around the outer edge, that sort of straight line on the bottom of the glove that helps you get a better seal over the pads when you're going into a blocking butterfly. What other changes have we got besides the addition of the new Brycore material in a section? What other changes and how does this new glove feel compared to the last Optik 2?
Very, very similar. Like, again, if you're familiar with that Optic 2 glove, you are still going to get that same kind of at-home feel with the 3 itself. Same style of break angle, which is their 40-degree closure. Stock game ready on the wall. Obviously, you do have that ability to custom order if you do want the Pro Palm or, full-on practice. In terms of for overall, again, playability-wise, it's not too far a departure of what we already have seen previously from them. Bit of a redesign, and especially when it comes to the BOA system. BOA's out. They have their new U-dial system in, or U-turn. Sorry, I think that's the one. It's providing the exact same fit and feel that you already had before. It's just a bit of a different system. That's all.
So it basically looks like almost like obviously it's not the same brand, not the same model, but it looks like it's trying to do the same thing in terms of giving you a dial system that allows you to tighten the glove. And anybody that experienced the old BOA system, among the best and one of the better innovations we've seen over the years in terms of really being able to lock your hand into the back of that glove.
That's correct. Yes. Stock single T in the glove as well. Very wide opening. You just look at the glove and it just looks bigger than it, what is regulation, but it is up to spec 100%. It just, again, overall feel wise and things like that. If you like the Optik 2, you're going to like the Optik 3 for sure.
Blocker, we've seen some improvements, I think, in terms of feeling a little less bulky over the past couple of generations of Brian's, a little more streamlined, but still good protection. What are the changes on the Optik 3 blocker? It looks like that reinforced sidewall, nice, solid, sort of connected piece from the face of the blocker down the sidewall now.
Yeah, that between that and also that, again, that integration of that Brycore material as well, like that's what's really given us that like a good pop to the blocker and its overall rigidity itself. Overall feel wise, yeah, in my opinion, I find it a little bit less chunky, if that makes sense, versus say the Genetic 5 blocker. So like you said, a little bit more streamlined. The hand position on the blocker is set up a little bit higher, so meaning there's lower space on the lower half of the blocker. Just in terms of overall feel, I do like the balance point of it, and so far from what we've heard and kind of what we've seen, really good rebound pop to it as well.
All right, you already touched on the graphics. They sort of got a Transformer feel to me, but maybe I'm an old man, and that's just the kids don't even know what the Transformers are. But I kind of a sort of modern tech feel to them. I think they just look big. The pads especially look tall and wide, and I'm guessing that's a function of the graphic. And of course, because we're talking about Brian's, we're talking about the ability to do custom with custom stitch patterns. We've seen Magnus Hellberg over the past 2 years roll out some 6 sets with the Detroit Red Wings, the Seattle Kraken at the start of this year, and after getting claimed on waivers, just rolled out a beauty with the Ottawa Senators. So Cam, if they got any questions about custom orders, whether it's with stock graphics or going all in with a full custom set, how do they get a hold of you and get those orders placed through you?
They can give me a call at 604-589-8299 or 1-800-567-7790. That, or check us out at thehockeyshop.com. Links are on there too as well if you wanted to email in, get a chance to discuss custom graphic, discuss custom specs. Brian's does have that ability to still do that, what we call kind of true custom to a bit of a degree. So if you want something, run it by me. We'll see if we can do it, and we can get you set up.
Awesome. The new Brian's Optik 3 now in store at the Hockey Shop, source for sports, and online soon at thehockeyshop.com. If you got any questions, make sure you give Cam a call and keep an eye out for the review of the new chest protector. So as much as there's excitement about the new Brian's pads and gloves, Cam, I understand the chest protector is a beauty. I can't wait to go over that with you in the coming weeks.
For sure. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but it's cool.
Cat is out of the bag. Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cam, fresh off his visit to Vegas, talking about the Optik 3 line. I love it. Anything Brian's, when it comes fresh out of the box, I am all over it because of the ability just to do out of this world type graphics and innovation, Woody.
Well, speaking of out of this world, we maybe missed this one up the top, but boys, how about Magnus Hellberg's set? Goes last year in Detroit, comes back from the K, signs in Detroit late. Wicked winged wheel set. Signs in Seattle in the offseason. The Kraken set might be the nicest one I've ever seen. Gets claimed off waivers by Ottawa, and here I am on our social media channels lamenting the loss of this beautiful custom set. And they may have actually outdone themselves with this Senator set he's got on the way. So this may be one of the few times when a waiver claim has a positive spin, because now with apologies to Magnus, who probably was quite happy to be headed to Palm Springs and might now be headed to Belleville. Although he would get claimed back off waivers, I'm pretty sure. But hey, if nothing else, you get a set for the ages in Ottawa. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you check the Brian social media, check our social media. It is wicked good.
Just a note, he's in Ottawa because of Cam Talbot and the rib injury. You've experienced something like that. People have a certain level have all bruised their body, but that's a bit extreme, is it not?
5 to 7 weeks. I know Roberto used to, even before they sort of streamlined chest protectors and made them smaller and frankly a little less protective in some cases in the NHL. I remember Luongo taking one that got sort of underneath the ribs by the armpit and fracturing a rib and missing some time here in Vancouver. So it happens. For everybody that says shrink wrap them, make it tighter, make it smaller, you haven't gone far enough. We're at that threshold. Marty Biron, what career pretty much ended with a broken collarbone. So you still need to have enough protection. I don't have the circumstances under which Cam was hurt. Sounds like it was a shot, but I don't know if it just caught him in a soft spot. That happens. I lost an appendix. You get opened up and you get hit in a spot that isn't fully padded. It still hurts, folks. It still hurts to be a goaltender. So best of luck to Cam to get back quick. In the meantime, I'm telling you, Anton Forsberg, I don't think people realize how good he was last season. If he can pick up where he left off last year, he was like top 10 in adjusted save percentage in the National Hockey League. He was really good for them and looks like he's finally sort of established himself as that, if nothing else, at least a 1A/1B option. So as much as people from a name brand standpoint are going to lament the loss of Talbot, and the Senators will too, the reality is Forsberg was every bit as ready to be a 1A as opposed to default 1B. He'll be just fine in the short term.
You know that goaltenders of a certain era are talking about stop the whining, because any type of bruised rib is nothing compared to what they had to deal with. And that takes us into one of the incredible people in our sport, in our position, who has passed away. Dave Dryden was always, from the start of his career, involved in goaltending equipment, goaltending technology moving forward. From the mask or right on down. Hutch.
Yeah, not going to lie, guys. I was pretty emotional this week when I saw that Dave Dryden had passed away. To most people, probably the older brother of Hall of Famer Ken Dryden, but I think to those who know the position well, they recognize the lengthy professional career he had. Credited as the man behind the modern mask that we all wear today, at least coming up with the idea. Involved in the game as an innovator for many years. He followed that up with a career as a elementary school principal. He worked closely with the family charity that was raising money for beds and mosquito netting to keep malaria away from kids in third world countries around the world. And just a great person. But what I remember sort of burned in my mind is that first game where he played against his brother Ken. And I've got the book on my shelf still here that his father wrote, playing the shots at both ends, about their life growing up. And that was a pretty special moment when they got to face each other and then shake hands at center ice. I don't know that everybody realizes sort of how that story was engineered, guys. What was really cool about it was that Punch Imlach, who was with Buffalo at the time, a real promoter of the game, wanted to see it happen. He named Dave Dryden as his starter, but then Montreal didn't reciprocate. They didn't name Ken as the starter because they didn't want the media circus. So immediately Buffalo pulls Dryden from the net and puts in the other goaltender, Joe Daly, I think it was. And then later on, as a result of an injury to Rogie Vachon with Montreal, shot below the belt. Let's not worry about the chest protectors. This one was a little bit lower. Ken had to go in, and then immediately Dave was put into the game by Imlock. So just the first time ever brothers had ever met. Dave was Ken's older brother by 6 years. And, at the time, as much as I looked up to Ken as sort of my hero, I also decided immediately when I got to know Dave a little bit, not personally, just as a player, I stopped being David and everybody had to call me Dave because I thought that was just way cooler. And then we had a pretty cool moment last year that made me remember that. As you guys remember, my son, Matty, at age 15, got to play against our billet brother, or his billet brother, Cooper, in the BCHL. And Cooper was at the time 6 years older than Matty, just like the age difference between Ken and Dave. And also something that probably hasn't happened before, although not nearly as significant as that game between the Dryden brothers that impacted so many people. And as did the great career of Dave. So condolences to Dave's family and to everybody he touched around the world. And we're going to miss him.
Speaking of chest protectors, not officially, but most people you talk to also credit him, not just for the two-piece mask that we all wear today, the combination of fiberglass and a cage, but having the chest protector be one piece with the arms attached to the body, because it used to be two separate pieces, and most people trace that back, even though there's no sort of official record, but most people will trace that back to Dave Dryden as well. And he was involved on the equipment side and with the National Hockey League as well for a while after his playing career. So like, as you said, and well said, Hutch, condolences to the entire Dryden family and all the people that he touched, not just in the game, but in other ways throughout his life.
I did not know that about the arm pads and the chest protector, because it did used to be two different things. I think you'd put on your arm pads first, and then the chest protector would slide down over top of it. Awesome stuff there. Dave Stubbs on NHL.com has an unbelievable piece on the life of Dave Dryden, including the fact that he was one of the first, if not the first, emergency goaltender that came in Maple Leaf Gardens, was there as a fan, and there was an injury, and they paged him and got him down, and he finished off the game. So made his appearance as a 20-year-old amateur who was there as a fan at Maple Leaf Gardens. But it's all part of the story. I can never do it justice. Dave Stubbs, the amazing hockey historian out of Montreal, has this piece there that whether you know Dave or you follow Ken or you're just a hockey fan, it will entertain you until the very end and also inform you, teach you about the past. Awesome stuff. Well done. And that mask that he pioneered, that he'll be known. I don't know whether we'll end up calling it that, the Dave Dryden, the Dryden mask, or what, but be a cool little thing. And have I ever called you David?
You just call me Hutch.
Just Hutch? All right.
Yeah.
I call him some other names too.
I like David better now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, so did you actually correct people? Did Dave?
Well, I was very young at the time, so it was probably just telling my friends or my parents I prefer Dave or something. I mean, it wasn't that big a deal.
That's
guys.
Awesome. I love it.
It's yeah. And I actually still in my bedside table have a photocopy of a Dave Dryden autograph. That was as close as I got. Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. What an amazing connection. We know Woody has this almost spiritual bond with Ken Dryden, and the tattoo and the portrait from his daughter. And
I'm not one up in that one.
No, you're not going to.
He's got a tattoo, and I've got a photocopy of an autograph.
but let's be honest here. It's like I'm still about as close. Like my only conversation, I've never had a conversation with Ken. It's just my daughter has. So I'm a massive fan through that. But it's not. It's just like you and the autograph. It's the same degree of separation.
I have had a conversation with Ken because the first time I volunteered to coach goaltenders, I walked into the dressing room and I heard somebody shout out, "Hey, Dryden, pass the tape." And it was actually his son was on the team that I was volunteering to coach. And I was terrified that I was going to have to be coaching his son. Thank God his kid was a defenseman at the time.
Wow.
Love it.
That's outstanding. Love it. Ken is awesome. Dave, such a pioneer. Overshadowed because of his brother's career, but so many just beautiful, wonderful contributions to our sport. Thanks to everybody that put this episode together. So much stuff that we had 3 different interviews. Cam over at the Hockey Shop, obviously Jeremy Swayman, as well, Laura Hopewell. We covered all the different bases of our position, and we can't wait to be with you next week as we're underway in the National Hockey League season. It gets normal from here, Woody.
Well, and hey, let's tease it right now. Spencer Knight, featured guest next week. Caught up with him this morning from the Florida Panthers. So we're on a roll with our NHL guests as the season gets rolling. And we'll bring you Spencer Knight, a fantastic 35-minute sit down with him. Another of the great sort of next generation of goalies that's taking over as we lose the Prices and the Lundqvists and the Luongos. They got next, and we got next week with Spencer Knight in a great conversation.
Time to say good night. I can't wait to bring you Nighttime on InGoal Radio, the podcast.